My name is Ekwa, and I'm the writer, director, and producer of the film Taharuki, also known as Suspense.
You don't have to. You always end up killing each other.
I've had a long love for murder mysteries and whodunit kind of stories, although I've never tried to write one. And I had an idea about a female character who, you know, she was faced with the sudden death of her husband and decided to find out what happened to him, and gets led on this adventure as she's trying to find the killer, her husband's killer. And you know, I started developing that as a feature film that I wanted to write and direct. And but it will be my first feature. And so in preparation for that, I thought it might be interesting to start with something smaller that could be used as a prequel for that story.
I'm Barbee, co-producer of Suspense.
Okay.
I was asked by Ekwa if I was interested in coming on board to be her producing partner. When she brought the script in to be read, it was very interesting. So it was an easy decision to say yes and come on board. So that's initially how it was brought on, and as the script developed and the story developed, I became really excited about the project.
I grew up in Kenya. I've lived there for several years and have witnessed many years of tension and violence that have taken place in the country. But what took place in 2007 was definitely the worst that it's been, you know, in decades at least, in terms of the casualties. But what struck me the most as, you know, just something that was really disturbing and sad about that experience was the fact that after weeks and weeks of carnage, and, you know, this was on the news, and it was this huge, emotional, you know, trying, scary time, you know, then the leaders of the country essentially came on TV and had like a ribbon cutting and was just like, never mind guys, it's over, we're friends again, just kidding. And it was kind of like, what do you mean just kidding? We just had like a freaking genocide in the country, how are you just kidding? How are people just supposed to go back to life the way it was? And I do believe that because there was so much that was never addressed, there were things that were just completely swept under the carpet, and, you know, the focus was like, get the country back on track and forget what happened, and we're just, you know, we're back, you know. And so I had all of those thoughts working when I was writing this, when I was working on the feature, and then decided to do the prequel and tried to think of how I can bring the two together. And so, you know, the story isn't just about post-election violence, because, well, first of all, there's no way I can talk about post-election violence in about 10 minutes. And it's so large and so wide and expansive, there's no way I can do any justice to it as a topic of discussion. Nor am I the best versed person to have that kind of political discourse. What I can talk about are human emotions that are involved, and to just focus on very specific people who are fictional people.
Initially it was important because it was the beginning of a larger story, which the larger story was what I had originally read. So when the whole idea to make like a prequel to that story, that just was extremely intriguing. So it's just the opportunity to see it at its beginning stages, and also to be able to work with Ekwa. And so, you know, because I know that she's a writer, director, and those are the kind of directors that I would like to work with in the future.
I was talking to some artist friends of mine and, you know, really beginning to question what we were doing as artists to help our community, to help our society, our region, you know, because it didn't just affect Kenyan people, it affects everybody in the region. What we were doing to discuss that, you know, I do feel very strongly that as artists, it's our role. It has been our role for centuries. Artists are always at the forefront of change, political change, social change, whatever it is. And in terms of providing a voice or providing an avenue for people to express themselves in a safe way. And so I really just started thinking about what my role was and what our role was in general as young people who were witness to this, either in the country or outside of the country, and what were we doing about it, what were we saying about it, or were we also just playing into the idea of we were fine and everything was cool and we were just kidding. Because, you know, for people who are still displaced and have no homes to go or lost their families or, you know, just saw this horror, it wasn't kidding for them, it was for real. And it still is, and it will be for the rest of their lives. You know, it's a disservice to those people to act like this never happened.